All right, we are here today to bear witness to the horrible fallout of Senate Bill 132 in California, brought by my own Senator Scott Wiener. And this bill allowed men to, on their own word and on their own declaration, to decide that convicted men decide that they wanted to be housed in women's prisons. To no one's surprise, that has resulted in sexual assaults and battery of women who are incarcerated and cannot get away from these sexual predators. And today we're here to witness the preliminary hearing, the trial of one of those predators, who has been accused of raping two women, incarcerated women, after he identified into the women's prison system. And we're here to stand up for his victims and bear witness to the suffering they've experienced.
Hi, we are here today at the Madera Courthouse protesting men being put in women's prison because they self-identify as women. For those who think this is the only way to kindly treat these men, please be aware, there are many men who are vulnerable, uniquely vulnerable to assault and rape in men's prisons for many reasons. None of them are being helped by this. This is only helping men who are choosing to self-identify as women in order to get into women's prisons, where they then rape women, as we are seeing here today. So what we need to be thinking about is how they have simply moved the rape from the men's prisons into the women's prisons and are not protecting all the other men who are uniquely vulnerable to rape. Instead of solving the problem, they have made it worse. The state of California is who I'm talking about. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Cravens. I am a lifelong liberal and I am a long-term Democrat. And I belong in women's prisons. That includes Dana Rivers, who was a femicidal maniac who murdered a lesbian couple and their teenage son and was then placed in a women's prison. And it also includes Tremaine Carroll, suspected rapist. Keep men out of women's prisons, no matter how they self-identify. That's the bottom line.
Hi, my name is Meg Madden. I first became aware of gender ideology 10 years ago. I never thought we would get to the point where men were in women's prisons. This is obviously insane and morally wrong, but from a pragmatic standpoint, the taxpayers of California need to understand that the state has put them in the position of massive lawsuits, and they will need to be paying someday for what they have done to women, what is being done to women right now by the state of California, because they put men in women's prisons, which is completely sick and wrong and leaves the state open for massive lawsuits. Thank you.
I want to speak against SB 132. It's the bill that Scott Wiener from San Francisco, state senator, authored, and that is why we are here today. We knew from the beginning that when you allow men into women's prisons by law, rape is going to result, unwanted pregnancy is going to result.
Hi, I'm here to stand up and support with these women here, and I'm against men being in women's prisons, being able to just say that they're a man, to be able to have access to women. I feel like they're gaming the system, and I think the laws that allow this to happen are absurd and should be repealed, and keep men out of women's prisons.
Hi, my name is Beth Bourne. I'm from Davis, California, and I'm here today at the Madera County Courthouse because I know women are real. This gender ideology that's been pushed on by our state is impacting children, vulnerable adults, and of course women. If you can have any man self-identify as a woman and take over our protected sex-segregated spaces, like our bathrooms and our locker rooms, in our sports, in our shelters, in our prisons, then you're endangering the lives of women. And we need to wake up, California. We need to protect our women, and that includes women that are incarcerated in prisons.
Forcing women to be housed with men in prison is cruel and unusual punishment. Sure, when we think of women in prison, we know that they've done some kind of crime, we know they're being punished, but they are doing the time. Many of them are trying to rehabilitate, to educate themselves, to get over their personal trauma of sexual abuse, which many of them have been subject to. We need to at least try to give them a safe environment and not be subject to rape and sexual abuse and possible pregnancy. This has happened. It has to stop.
All right, I'm Sharon Byrne. I'm the Executive Director of WoLF. I'm joined here this morning with a great crew of Californians who all believe the same thing. It is 2024 and the state should not be putting men in women's prisons. It violates at least 3 aspects of international human rights law. Article 5 of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, no cruel or inhuman punishment. Article 11 of the UN Nelson Mandela Rules for the Minimum Treatment of Prisoners, which was pushed by the U.S. in 2015 and passed and ratified through the UN with our full participation, says men and women must be housed separately. They must not be in the same premises. So at the same time, we have the Geneva Convention, which governs rules of war for prisoners of war. Men and women must be housed in separate facilities. 3 distinct pieces of international human rights law. And our state, California, has decided that it will circumvent all of that and fly in the face of it and put men in women's prisons. We are here today outside of the Superior Court of California of Madera County, and we are here because today is a preliminary hearing of Tremaine Carroll, who is charged with 2 counts of forcible rape on 2 different victims after he was placed in the women's facility in Chowchilla under Senate Bill 132. My organization, WoLF, fought this law. We filed a lawsuit in federal court to defend the rights of 4 female inmates whose human rights were being violated. A U.S. District Judge for California threw out our suit in May, the exact same week that Tremaine Carroll was brought for arraignment here in Madera County for rape, and that U.S. District Judge said that our fears of rape in the women's prisons by male inmates was unfounded. This is a terrible state of affairs, and we call on the state of California and Governor Newsom to repeal Senate Bill 132 as soon as possible, end this inhumane treatment of female prisoners, women in custody in our state who are subject to far more abuse than their sisters in other states. This is an insane set of circumstances. It is crazy that the state of California decided to do this. And we want everyone in the world to know that our state is violating international human rights law and hurting the women in its custody. Please stand with us. Please go to womensliberationfront.org, support our work. Please support the work of Women Are Reals and Women to Women, who also stand up for the voices of women who are in custody in California. Thank you.